Hey, welcome back to Grid Gym. Today we're going over what Amber and I were talking about last Friday, the fresh versus frozen thing, because I've been getting quite a few questions about that, and I thought it was kind of interesting. So why would you choose frozen food over fresh food? Well, I don't think it's really like one versus the other. I think that there's pros and cons to each, but they're not necessarily one is better or worse than the other. They're pretty equivalent, and the reason is that if you walk down the path of the plant. So the plant was planted, and then the plant grew, and then the plant produced food, produced offspring, let's call it. And so you've got these people that are walking along, and they're picking the fruit off of the vine. Let's say let's just leave it there. So when they're going through and they're picking these raspberries off the vine, they're going to pick the raspberries that are ripe, and they're going to pick the raspberries that aren't ripe, because it doesn't really make a lot of sense for a huge production farm to not just pick all of them, right? Like, they don't want to go through and only pick the ones that are ripe because it's not very efficient. So at the end of that, so they're going to pick the ripe ones, and they're going to pick the ones that aren't quite ready. So when they pick the ones that aren't quite ready, and they pick the ones that are ready to eat right then, now they've got another problem, because they've got these ones that aren't ready yet, and they've got these other ones that are ripe and ready to eat. But by the time they ship them all the way to the store where you're going to buy them, they're going to spoil. So what do they do with those that are already going to spoil? They got to freeze them. They freeze them so that they can bring them back to you, so that they can keep them fresh for the time that you do ingest them. So there's one thing. And then the other thing is they've got all these other ones that aren't ready yet. What are they going to do with the ones that aren't ready yet? Well, the ones that aren't ready yet are going to be able to survive the time of the trip that it takes to get to the store, to get to you, to get to your table, to get to your mouth before they go bad. And in that time, they can actually control the gas that is going on to these plants. And we know the gas. I didn't look it up. I should have looked it up before the show. I had a brain fart about this. It's something with an E. It's like ethylene or something like that. But anyway, they spray with bananas. They're going to pick them green, and then they're going to put them on a boat, ship them here, and then about a week before they actually get to the store, they're going to spray them with this gas, so that they turn yellow, so that when they're on the shelf, they look good to you so that you can eat them. But if they would have picked them yellow, they would have been rotten by the time that they got to the store, let alone get to you. So bananas, I don't know if bananas are good frozen or not, but there are other fruits and vegetables that are good to be frozen versus fresh. Okay, another reason that to buy frozen instead of fresh is that when the ripening phase happens, when that food goes and it starts ripening, that's when it pulls the majority of the nutrients out of the soil and into that fruit. So it's arguably more nutritious, that you're going to get a few micronutrients. I do think at some point you're kind of splitting hairs in that whole scenario. I think it's a little silly to be like, no, you should only eat frozen food and you should never eat fresh produce because frozen food has more nutrients. I don't know. I don't think it's probably enough of a difference to matter. I think some of it's going to come down to personal preference, and it's going to be up to you. But why would you choose frozen or why would you choose frozen or fresh? Do you always have to choose fresh? No, you can. Frozen is a very, very, very good option that you can use, and it's usually a little bit less expensive. It's a very good way to be economical in your food choices. But anyway, that's what we have for today. That's what we have for today, because I got to cut this one short because I have a massive list of things to do today. But it was great to have you guys here. Thursdays are always usually pretty good days. But anyway, if you have more questions about the nutrition stuff, please put them down below. Amber and I will talk about them. We'll write up a show for them, and we'll do that show. Maybe that'll just get her talked into being more of a regular on this thing. Because I really like having her on here with me. But anyway, maybe even someday she does one by herself, because I think she's watching right now. Anyway, please like, comment, share down below. I always really appreciate it when you guys share. Anyway, it helps us out, and hopefully it helps out somebody else that is going to get the information, have that positive influence in their life that's going to push them to a healthier lifestyle so that they can do all the other cool stuff in their life that they want to do. But anyway, thanks for being here. I really appreciate it, and we'll see you tomorrow.